Hi, everybody. Today we continue with Joseph's life, and he was promoted after Pharaoh's dream. So we just recap a little bit. The two dreams that Pharaoh had, one with the cows, the fat one ate the skinny one, and the skinny one remained the same skinny, and with the grains. Um, And after those dreams, Joseph interpreted the dreams to Pharaoh. Sorry, I should just turn this off. Um, and after he interpreted the dreams for Pharaoh, Joseph was promoted to be in charge of collecting the grains for 7 years and whenever after that. So we are Joseph in charge of Egypt in Genesis 41, verses 41 to 57. Another thing that was revealed to me by God is by revelation. Remember that Joseph had the dream with the grains. Pharaoh had the dream with the grains. Now, Joseph had two dreams, one after another. I would say double dream, which it comes to pass no matter what. And Pharaoh had two dreams about the same subject with just a little bit different things in the dreams, but it meant the same thing as for Joseph. And double dream like that is going to come to pass no matter what. Now, and then these two Joseph dreams from the beginning and Pharaoh dreams, they both had grains. The second dream they had grains in it. I'll say wheat, but could be barley, could be anything else. So God already told them through those dreams, whenever it's going to happen, is going to be related with the grains. Of course, with probably other crops, whenever what you can save for 7 years, maybe seeds, oil. I'm not sure if oil will last that long. Seeds like sunflower seeds. I don't know if you can, but grains for sure will last that long. But whenever they could get that will not perish, you know, they will. They're going to save, but interesting that both dreams related to grains. So God already told Joseph the solution, what to do and how to do and what is going to be involved. All right, let's dive in. So it's going to be a Bible study. It's a continuation. So verse 41. So we are actually in Genesis 41. We're in verse 41. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Whole land of Egypt. Yes. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's finger. Wow. A king would not give his signet away. May give another one, probably similar, but not his own signet ring. But Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and put it in Joseph's finger. He dressed him in robes of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in a chariot as his second in command, and people shouted before him, Make way! Which make way is actually it's pretty much for Egyptian saying, but it's pretty much when they shouted, they were saying bow down. Like people around when he walked in the chariot, people would bow down to Joseph. Thus he put him in charge of the whole land of Egypt, so that the people will know. So when they put somebody in command like that, they want to know whole country who is in charge now. Now, still Pharaoh was still ruling because there are like other things that had to rule. Um, the king usually is a judge, so they judge uh, people what happened, who, what, you know, deal with other countries. He was still ruling the country, but Joseph was put second in command uh, for the fact of to get these grains and all these sorted out. He didn't want to deal with it, and we couldn't find nobody else to do it. He was the wise one. And guess what? He was trained so well to this point that he was the only one who could handle it. Because it has to go in whole country of Egypt. They have to know where the grains, where the crops are, what the crops are, who is dealing with that, how much, there's just, it's a lot. But for Pharaoh was too much, so found like Joseph was entitled for that. Um, I'm just going to pause just for a minute. Sometimes we don't know where our destiny is. Joseph, he knew from the beginning, but um, he was prepared all this time. He thought probably, from the beginning, like he had the dreams, and all of a sudden he was thrown away in the cistern there, and he thought like, and then he was taken away from his country, and then he says like, God just gave me those dreams. What just happened? Am I supposed to rule in Jerusalem? Well, in that time, I'm not sure they call Jerusalem, but over Hebrew people is what he thought is going to be. God just give me those dreams, and look at that. I'm taking away from here. How, and where am I going to end, and how it's going to be? For sure he had those questions, but in along the way of his path, and he sticked with God closely, God rewarded him. He was ready. God will not take us to fulfill our destiny when we're not ready. It will be a time what he will just like be critical, will just be negative. We don't know. He had to be bowed down himself, humble, in order to have this high position when other people bows to him. All right, let's keep going. Verse 44. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in all Egypt. Wow. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphenath Paneah and gave him Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, to be his wife. So, in order to rule, I'm not sure what the culture was there, gave Joseph a wife, and it was of one of the priests over there. And Joseph went through the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Remember that when he went, when his father Jacob made a kind of colorful, like coat, is mentioned in the Bible. He was 17. Wow. So So he was 17 and now he is 30. About 13 years he's been out of his country, and he learned on the harder way, but he always did his best. And you can tell, if we just keep complaining, doing bad things, complaining about God, it just come like, God, what did you do with my life? Where am I ending up here? And all that. God doesn't like that. That means you need to stay longer in that position till you learn to be humble and praise God in everything. So Joseph was 30 years old. Jesus was 30 years old when he started his ministry. Was he? Is it like we can draw a comparison with Jesus, like draw parallel lines. So he was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced plentifully. He had to go in whole Egypt. Um, it's a big land, and had to know if he has barn, where to place the extra food and how much percentage, and also feed people in the land and put us on the side. So he was going through whole Egypt. He was traveling a lot. Alrighty, next. Verse 48. Joseph collected all the food produced in those 7 years of abundance in Egypt and stored it in the cities. In each city, he put the food grown in the fields surrounding it. So whenever it was a field, was probably a big barn and stored it there in the city. Very wise, because you don't have to carry it too far away. You just put it from the field, put it in there. Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain, like the sand of the sea. It was so much that he stopped keeping records because it was beyond measure. Because it said the fattened calves was big and rounded. That means plenty of food of grains they had those 7 days. So 7 years, sorry. 7 years were like plenty of everything. He didn't even start. Not if he forgot. He stopped counting and record. He just say, whenever it's left, just put it there. We just can't keep records. It was so much. Because remember, whenever Joseph was in charge, his hands, he was so blessed by God. Whenever he was doing, when Potiphar's house or in the prison, he was delivering, like his work was well known. After him, everybody knew it was Joseph, and God prospered Potiphar's house. Now is prospering Egypt through his hands, through his work. If we are children of God and we do what God asks us to do, he will bless our hands, he will bless our work, he'll bless our life. We just have to sit tight and remain humble and praise God in everything, because he knows where is our destiny. Sometimes we don't. He knows. All right, let's keep going. Verse 50, before the years of famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph by Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. Joseph named his firstborn Manasseh and said, it is because God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household. So pretty much Manasseh means forgot. Like God forgot all his trouble. Verse 52, the second son he named Ephraim, and say, it is because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. Pretty much Ephraim means double fruitful. Now, when Hebrew people, like Jewish people, when they have Shabbat Friday evening and they keep like till Saturday evening, they pray that the men of the house, and probably if they are like on the men's side, maybe even children, that they are like boys, and the men of the house, they pray, let them be like Manasseh and Ephraim. Let God forget the trouble that it was in the past, and let them be double fruitful. It's what pretty much means. So when you pray for Shabbat, let, just say my husband, or let my son, and or both, let my son and my husband be like Manasseh Ephraim. So that's where it's coming from Joseph children. All right, let's keep going. Verse 53, the 7 years of abundance in Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began just as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the other lands, not just Egypt. He just interpreted Pharaoh's dream, but the famine was all over other lands, other countries. There was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt, there was food. So people start eating. When all Egypt began to feel the famine, the people cried to Pharaoh for food, and as the dream say, it ended very fast. And not just that, famine, very, very bad famine. Then Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, go to Joseph and do what he tells you. Because Joseph had the key to those barns. Well, I call them barns, but look in that picture. They were like a big storage made of maybe bricks or stones, and they were filled up. They had so much. So he was not afraid for the 7 years to come, because he was like what it says, like the sand on the shore. It was that much grain in the land of Egypt. They had plenty. Now, so Egypt was Joseph was in charge of Egypt, and now the food, how much to give to who. So he was in charge over that. So whenever countries, they came from other different countries, now he knew if we give, what to give, how much to give, to make sure they have enough. But they had lots and plenty, because under Joseph's hands, God multiplied. Wow. We are in verse 56. When the famine had spread over the whole country, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians. For the famine was severe throughout Egypt, and the whole world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe everywhere, not just Egypt. So he was wise, and he gathered. It is sometimes God tells us, like, will not tell us from dreams. Sometimes we don't even know what to do. And if we know what the dreams are meant to be, what means in our dreams, we will know what to expect and what to do, like Joseph. So Joseph not just came in the power in the right time when God knew what is going to happen. Wow. We have an amazing God. And we just have to follow God in everything we do. because he's going to bless us tremendously, even though we think we're in prison, or who knows where. God knows about you. He did not forget about you. He's about to take you out in the right time. And guess what? You'll be placed up above everybody else because your destiny needs to be fulfilled, regardless of what the enemy and who say what. God has the hand on you, my dear. So, with saying this, it's to be continued. It's not over. God has more for Joseph in his story life. He has a family now. He has his own children. He's famous. He has plenty. He deals with the whole country of Egypt. He knows how to manage things. He is. You think like, what else could be? There's more. God wants to bless him completely. Completely. So there's more into his story. So stay tuned. We are going to be continued in the next one to come. And I hope you enjoy this Bible study as much as I enjoy it. Till next time, I tell you goodbye. Goodbye now.